Sure.
Listen to this more. Familiar? Shabbat test. Shlomo used to just chazal the salsa.
Humming along over here.
Huh?
She was humming along.
Good.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Rest in the cedar. And you can give me, here's a book that they can share. Here. You know, I had a miracle last night.
Oh.
I washed these glasses. I put them into the dishwasher to dry. Sitting and learning, all of a sudden, one of them, like mamish, exploded into smithereens. It's a good thing the dishwasher door was like mostly closed because I would have gotten it in the face, you know, like it exploded.
Oh.
I don't understand how. I know that while I was washing, one of my hands was really soapy. Somebody had to go. And so one of the glasses, like one of these fell on this, but nothing broke. And I guess it built up so much tension that, but 15 minutes later, like mamish.
Wow.
That was really okay. And anyway, so we're at Mizmor Tzadik Tet 99, which is the fifth Mizmor of Kabbalat Shabbat. So, if just to refresh your memories a little bit, right? So we're all these Mizmorim are for the sake of getting us ready to receive Shabbos, right? And the last Mizmor that we read, the one on number 98, we learned the teaching about the rivers clapping their hands, etc., etc., and that nature is sort of like nature is like very real, and we have days that we're like really excited about serving Hashem, and we have days that we just sort of like don't even remember that like that when we went to sleep we said, God, tomorrow morning I really want to serve you well, and we wake up in the morning we don't even remember that. Happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you, but it happens to you. It happens to you too. Never. But it's a real issue, right? We get up and we hardly remember that we made this commitment and that we, and so on. So nature is sort of like looking at us and saying, yeah, like, you're really excited about what you're doing today, but what's good, like, what are you going to be like in 10 minutes from now? What are you going to be like tomorrow, and so on. So we're praying that that Hashem, like, let it be real, and we want to do this for real. So somebody please read Psalm 99 out loud in English for all of us. Here is another siddur if anybody wants. You can share. The fifth Mizmor of Kabbalat Shabbat. Which siddur do you have? You are on page 130. Page 130. Michal, you need a siddur. Here, you did your custom the siddur, please. Okay. So who's reading? Ayelet?
Yeah, I mean, I could, we're by like the Chadodi, that section.
No, page 130. It's before the Chadodi.
Is Mashu
The second one, Hashem Malach.
Hashem Malach?
Yeah. So read it in English.
And the Lord will reveal his kingship. The nations will tremble. The earth will quake before him, who is enthroned upon the Kruvim. The Lord who is in Zion, who is great and exalted above all the peoples. They will extol your name, which is great, awesome, and holy. And they will praise the might of the King who loves justice. You have established uprightness. You have made the laws of justice and righteousness of Jacob. Exalt the Lord our God, and bow down at his footstool. He is holy. Moses and Aaron spoke among his priests, and Samuel among those who invoke his name, would call upon the Lord, and he would answer them. He would speak to them from a pillar of cloud. They observed his testimonies and decrees which he gave them. Lord our God, you have answered them. You are a forgiving God for their sake, yet bringing retribution for their own misdeeds. Exalt the Lord our God and bow down at his holy mountain, for the Lord our God is holy.
So what's this about?
Submitting yourself to God.
And
Hashem's the best.
Hashem's the best. And put it into the context of Kabbalat Shabbat.
It's like a geula kind of thing.
Yeah. So what's it telling us? In order to have the geula, in order to have the redemption of Shabbat, like what is it telling us? So yeah, well, already said. What's it? You want to repeat? But what?
Yeah, like submitting to God, like submitting to God.
It's
and like surrendering to God.
It's submitting to Hashem. In other words, the day is going to come when the whole world is going to recognize this, right? All the nations are going to come and they're going to proclaim the greatness of God and so on. But that phrase, in Hebrew, bow down to his footstool, has a lot of meanings. And it's, forgive me if I'm going to sort of meander a little bit, but I'm going to try to bring it back to this Mizmor. It's a very interesting thing, right? Yesterday in the Torah reading, we read about the giving of the Torah, right? So I hope that everybody who was there, was having this really awesome Torah reading and experience of trying to experience a little bit once again of what it is to stand at Har Sinai, right? And then in this week's parsha, the Torah starts off, Parshat Mishpatim, the Torah starts off with telling us the laws about a Jewish slave and how did there come to be that there was such a thing as a Jewish slave. So the rabbis tell us that this man stole, and according to the Torah, if you steal and you get cut, when you get caught, you have to pay back double. So he stole, he was caught, he didn't have the money to pay back. So he gets sold as a slave for a maximum of 6 years. Okay. So the person who buys him sort of pays off the debt, and he's indebted. I understand that that the thing of being a slave, if the master who bought him has one pillow, guess who gets to sleep on it? The slave, So it's not like you can chas v'sholem mistreat this person. But basically, like again in parentheses, it's like the Torah's way of what the Torah is teaching us is that putting somebody in jail is not a great idea. When something is wrong in society, we have a responsibility to rehabilitate this person in some way. Okay, but that aside, so but the question that's asked by everyone is, how does it happen that you could be one day at Mount Sinai and having this awesome divine experience of Hashem coming down to earth and experiencing the presence of Hashem here on earth and hearing God's voice and God speaking to you face to face, right? And the next day, God forbid, the same individual might go and steal. Like, what happened in between, So there's a very interesting, now I'm not going to claim that this is pshat or whatever it is, but it's just a very interesting thing. At the very end of yesterday's parsha, it speaks about the laws about how to build an altar, that it has to be made of earth, and you're not allowed to use any stones that were cut with metal, because metal is used for swords, and it's a weapon of war, and it's a weapon for killing people, and so the altar is like something that you can't have anything like that, So, and then it says, in the very last verse, it says that don't come up to my altar on stairs, and that's why there was actually a ramp going up to the altar. It wasn't stairs. And the Torah says, why not? Asher lo tigaleh ervatcha alav, so that you don't reveal your immodesty. In other words, plain and simple, when you're walking upstairs, you have to lift your feet higher, so it's not quite as modest, okay? Especially if you're wearing a robe. So the Kohanim went up with the ramp. Now, there's an interesting Hasidic teaching on that, okay? Now imagine you're the Kohen, you're this, or you're the rabbi of your community, or you're the rebbe of your community. You're some kind of a spiritual leader. And some Yidel that comes along and says, I gotta talk to you. Like let's say back in temple times, this Jew comes with an animal sacrifice, and the Kohen says, okay, what's this about? So he says, I did a transgression, and I came to do tshuva, came to do the sacrifice. Now, part of bringing of sacrifice was that the person had to do a confession, and the Kohen, the rabbi, the rebbitzin, right? I'm just giving you different period personalities, or the school teacher might think to themselves, we around the temple, we're okay. But look at what our brothers and sisters out there in the sticks, look at what they're doing, look at what they're getting into. Like they're really, really getting into some terrible things. So the Torah says, "V'lo ta'aleh b'ma'alot ha'mizrachi." Don't come up to my altar, b'ma'alot, thinking that you are better than this poor man who's coming to bring the sacrifice. Don't think that you're better. Because if you do, you're revealing your own immodesty. Now, what does that have to do with the question that I asked before about how do we go from Mount Sinai to somebody stealing and being sold into slavery? There's an expression in Yiddish. So here's your Yiddish lesson for the day. Ready? Fin wie stinkt der Fisch? Where does the fish stink from? From the cup or from the schwanz? Does it stink from the head or does it stink from the tail? And the answer is?
The head.
Stinks from the head. You ever see these older people buying fish? If they want to know if it's fresh, they smell the head. Like, they say, hey, what's new in the lake that you were caught in? And the fish says, I don't know, I haven't been there in a long time.
Oh my God.
Right? They're smelling the head. Now that's an aphorism, which basically means when something is wrong in a society, in your society, let's say, in your social circles, is it smelling from the lower echelons of society, or is there something wrong at the upper echelons? And the answer is, there's something cooking at the upper echelons. Maybe something very subtle. Maybe somebody thinks that they're better than somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. But do you know what happens when you see someone and you think that you're better than them? You're actually committing a kind of a robbery. Now, before you shake your head either in agreement or disagreement, what do you think that means? What kind of robbery is being committed if you think that you're better than someone else? Who's robbing and what are they being robbed of?
Are you stealing somebody else's importance?
You're stealing somebody's self-esteem, somebody's importance, right? You're stealing somebody's importance and you're making them feel like they're less. Yes?
Aren't you robbing from yourself too? An opportunity to
that also. Yeah, that's true. Now, now when that happens, when that begins to happen, so the guy at the top is doing something very subtle, right? He's even just thinking that way, right? The guy at the bottom ends up going and stealing from the store or stealing from someone's house. Understand? We're so interconnected, right? That what you do, we're wired to each other. What you do affects everybody else. Okay? And that's the connection between last week's parsha and this week's parsha. That you can go from Sinai to a situation where you're having to deal with theft in the community and having to deal with that. But you have to know that it didn't start with the guy at the bottom. It started somewhere at the top. Some of you younger people may have heard about Watergate. And years ago, when Nixon was president of the United States, there was like a couple of years where all his top people were caught cheating on their taxes. And so much so, it was so bad that the public accountants refused to sign tax returns that year because basically all across America, people said, if the top guys in the government are stealing on their taxes, why shouldn't I? You know, if it's corrupt at the top, it filters down and it gets corrupt at the bottom. Okay, so so one of the points, as I had it picked it out properly, of this Mizmo is that you can talk all you want about how great God is, and about how all the nations are going to recognize the greatness of Hashem, right? But it's not going to mean anything until we submit ourselves to Hashem's will. And in the middle of the psalm, like, that verse, Romamu Hashem Elokeinu. I'm sorry, the verse before that, right? V'oz melech mishpat ahev. God is all about justice, right? The whole thing is that spirituality is beautiful only if there is actual justice. If there isn't justice in the community, so what good is the spirituality? Right? What good is it? And whether you're a little ordinary citizen like us, or whether you're Moshe Rabbeinu or Aaron the Kohen, all of us have to submit ourselves to Hashem's greatness. All of us have to submit ourselves to being completely committed to making sure that that we're living in a just society.
What does that mean?
Just. Mishpat.
Saying
Halacha.
Fair.
what's the connection to the spiritual?
That if there isn't a just society, so the spirituality doesn't mean anything. As a matter of fact, there's a story that's in one of Hannah Teller's books. It's an amazing story. This Baal Tshuva guy was trying desperately to get his sister.
He came and spoke in Kansas when I was there.
Yeah. He was trying to get his sister, who was involved in a cult, and she was like the guru's boyfriend. I mean, the guru's girlfriend. Okay, and he was trying to get her to come to Israel and to leave this cult. And she says, "I'm not interested. I'm fine. I'm happy where I am." Blah blah blah. Anyway, he wrote to her and he said, "Listen, I'm going to pay for your ticket. I just want you to come for 10 days. And all I ask of you is to attend one class, one Torah class." So she decided to come. And every day there's these great classes on the bulletin board. And she says, "No, I don't feel like going. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like going." Anyway, it's already like the 9th day. She's going back to America the next day. And she says, "Okay, I made a commitment. I'm going to go to one class." They go look at what's available. This is, I guess, in the old city. There was one class in Halacha, Jewish law, given by this elderly rabbi. And it was pretty boring. It was a class on the laws of returning lost objects. And this guy, and she's looking at her brother like, this is really exciting,
Yeah.
This is really
This
exciting.
is what you do for your life.
Right?
Why would you choose this?
And he's thinking to himself, my gosh, look, I tried so hard. There were all these fantastic classes throughout the entire week with these great teachers, and all that we end up going to is like one boring class by this old rabbi. Anyways, she sat through the class, and she said, "Thank you very much," and they parted their ways. And She went back to America, back to her guru, and they were in some town in some state is where they were located. And one day she's going with the guru to buy some things in town. And as they're walking along the main street, he sees a wallet on the ground, picks it up, full of money, takes out the money, and he dumps the wallet in the bin, in the trash bin. And she says to him, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Karma." You know, obviously this person had to lose the money, and obviously this money was meant for me. She says, "Aren't you going to go into the stores like nearby, like, see maybe somebody's looking for their wallet, He says, "No." She turned around and walked away from him and left him. Unbelievable. Right? So I only told the story just to illustrate. Spirituality is a lot of fun, right? But if it's not with Mishpat, okay? So like Ayelet was saying, like Yedida was saying, like, we're going into Shabbos, we're going into this whole other spiritual realm, right? To this exalted spiritual realm. And the message is justice. We have to live with justice. We have to live the way we need to. Now, so Moshe and Aaron. So what does King David go on to say? He goes on to say that Moshe and Aaron and Shmuel, how did they live their lives? So Moshe and Aaron, right? These were the Kohanim. These were the priests of God. So what was it about? They were always calling to God. Okay? They're calling out to God, and God answers them. The point being, sometimes, like we were talking about, like, you go to bed with the greatest commitments for tomorrow, and then the next morning you don't even remember it. Call out to Hashem. Call out to Hashem. Call out to God, saying, "God, I need you. I need to know that you're here. I need to know that you're here with me." Right? And can you get the door, please? Right? Did you find one to buy?
I did.
Great.
I found one.
They only had one?
Yeah.
If they have more, let me know.
Have more you want to know? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know David Holstein?
No, never mind now. Don't come in now, but okay. Anyway, so the answer is, call out to Hashem. Okay. And you see that in the Torah again and again. You see Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't have an easy life. He doesn't have an easy life. The people are challenging him all the time, right? Like,
You know the feeling?
No, Hashem, not that much, but they're challenging him all the time, right? I think it was Golda Meir once told one of the presidents of the United States, he made some kind of comment about, he's president of 200 million people and going into Churchill, and he says, bless you. And he says, I'm prime minister to 4 million other prime ministers. Every Jew thinks that they're president. Every Jew thinks that I'm the prime minister. Everybody thinks that, I'm, like I know what it's all about, right?
Actually, why not?
Huh?
Actually, so we know that doesn't each.
We're all b'nei melachim. We're all b'nei melachim, b'nei nevi'im. We're royalty, right? So who's going to tell me what to do, right? Tell you a little secret. That's one of the problems that I once went to when I was a student in university. So I was looking for a summer job or whatever it was, or a job. I don't remember. And so I went to this employment agency. You may as well get the door, Avi.
Bring you a time.
Who's the Mazel Tov? What?
We're finishing Perek 10.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Mazel Tov. Great. Okay. L'chaim.
Adrenaline, we're turning on.
Adrenaline. I'll see you again. Okay. Thank you. So they managed to finish the whole. For some of these people, this is the first time in their life to finish the whole Kabbalat of Talmud. Like 20 sheets. Kabbalat.
Right. That's awesome.
Anyway, he says, Mamish, it's a simcha. So what was I saying that?
Good job.
Huh? Yeah.
Good job.
So the guy who was supposed to interview me, I was supposed to be interviewed at 10 o'clock in the morning, already 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11:30. It's already 12:15. The guy walks out of his office. He's interviewing all these other people. And he says, oh, sorry, I got to go for lunch. Anyway, so the big macher there, the boss in the agency, he had seen me a couple of times, and finally he steps out of his office and he says, you're still here? I said, yeah. The guy's just ignoring me. So he said, he took me in to interview me. And this was like for a job like in a wasp company. You've heard about wasps, right?
White
Anglo-Saxon tribes.
Yeah.
You know the story about this little bee. This little bee is starving, and he sees a big fat bee, and he says, "Oh, big bee, I'm so hungry. Where can I find some food?" And the big bee says, "Oh, about a mile down the road, there's a synagogue and there's a bar mitzvah." So later in the afternoon, the big bee sees the small one. He's happy. He says, "So did you find it?" He says, "It was great." "So what's that little thing on your head?" "Oh, that's a kippah." "Why are you wearing a kippah?" "Didn't want anybody to think I'm a wasp." Anyway, so he says to me, "You're Jewish, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." So he says, "Why are you applying for a job in this kind of a company? You're not the kind of guy that's going to be a yes man to anything that they tell you. We're like that, like Moshe Rabbeinu had a hard time with us, right? But what did he do? Hashem, call out to God, call out to God, call out to God. And Shabbos is coming, and we want to get into Shabbos, we want to get into Shabbat, we want to really be there. So this Mizmor is saying, okay, stop for a couple of minutes. You're almost there. Stop and reaffirm your commitment to Hashem's laws of justice. Okay? You have to plain and simple stop and reaffirm and call out to Hashem and say, maybe I wasn't so great at it this week. Maybe I ignored someone, like we were learning on Thursday, right? That ignoring can also be a form of murder, God forbid. Maybe I really messed up and so on, and I don't want to mess up anymore. And Hashem, I need your help to do that. So that when somebody, imagine you're Moshe Rabbeinu, imagine you're Aaron HaKohen, you imagine you're Sephora, imagine that, you're Miriam, whoever you are, you're a person who's studied, you're a person who's got insight, you're a person who has a very, very strong intuition, whatever it is, and people look up to you, regardless of how many even if it's just one simple idol, even if it's one person in the street. And Hashem, I don't want to look down at anybody. I don't want to get caught in this trap of thinking that I'm better than somebody else, which is one of the most subtle forms of and dangerous techniques that the Yetzer Hara has, is that for us to think that we're better than somebody else, right? So Hashem, right? So call out to God, and He answered them, right? And the last verse of this psalm, right? Extol God and bow to His holy mountain, because God is beyond. God is beyond. So what does Reb Shlomo say on this Mizmor? So he tells us an interesting little story, page 103 in the book.
What's the mountain of Hashem? What is it?
The mountain is, in other words, the image of Har Sinai. Okay. The whole experience of being at Har Sinai. Did I mention to you last week that the Baal Shem Tov students reported that when they would be sitting and learning Torah with the Baal Shem Tov, they would actually experience being at Mount Sinai, and they would hear the thunder and the lightning, and they would mamish like experience receiving the Torah every time that they learned the Torah. We were learning about that last week. When we're learning Torah, the idea is to learn in such a way that the words that you are speaking are to the realization that God is speaking these words now, and you're just giving it human voice. But and this is not an easy task, but to be so connected that as you're speaking the words of Torah, these words are connected to their source. But when your ego gets in the way, and that could be in a very subtle form, and we do have in every community very simple, boorish people also, and as soon as you think that, oh, I'm better than them, like you're walking come from a great learning wherever you were, you're walking come from the Kotel, and you're walking by this cafe every day, and you see the same guys are sitting there day in, day out, doing nothing besides, talking politics or sports and spending their life at the cafe. And you think, oh, I learned Torah, I'm better than they are. You're doing things that are better. There's no question about that. But you're better than them? No. Right? And that's a Mishnah, by the way. That's a Mishnah, clear Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. Ma'od hevei shval ruach, be extremely, extremely humble. Bifnei kol ha'adam, before everybody. Before everybody. And what's the greatest thing that the Torah tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu? Is that he was the most humble person in the world. Right?
How do you check yourself?
On your humility, you know yourself. If you catch yourself doing it, then you know.
It's not easy to do what you're asking.
It wasn't easy for me to be bar mitzvah either. You should have seen what a disaster it was.
No, I want to hear about the bar mitzvah.
Takes work.
It was so bad, Marilyn Monroe committed suicide on my bar mitzvah.
She was there.
No, because she wasn't invited, and then she heard how long the job I did.
She was calling you and you wouldn't pick up the phone.
Whatever. Like I had, my bar mitzvah was in the middle of summer, so I had 4 half-hour lessons in June. After the second lesson, my teacher looked at me and said, "You're not going to make it." And he was right.
Coming back to
Yeah.
What does Shmuel have to do with this?
Shmuel is
Why not the Yirmiyahu?
no. Shmuel was Shmuel was the equivalent of Moshe and Aaron. Shmuel was like big leader in Israel. Like it's okay. They're in. It's my right. Yeah. And so he was like one of the big inspiring leaders of the Jewish people in that period.
He was greater than, let's say, Yirmiyahu.
I listen. I can't answer you on that. And then all I know is that the rabbis say Moshe Aaron was Shmuel. So they say that Shmuel was the equivalent of Moshe and Aaron together. Okay. So Rav Shlomo says on page 103.
We'll finish with the Siddur?
For now, yeah. Okay. So he says, Laila Echad, at the bottom of 103, Hashem alach yigzu ami Moshe ve'Aaron karim el Hashem. V'hu ya'anem. So first of all, notice that that's the promise in this verse, is that when you call out to God, God answers you. Notice if the call is sincere, Hashem answers you. Okay. Yeah. So he says, Laila echad amadeti liyat hakotel v'pekashti Yehudi zaken shehigia meRussia. One night I'm standing at the kotel and I met this, late at night, and I met this elderly Jew who had just arrived from Russia. Who amar li, and he told me, shu shama mihasaba shelo, sheshama mihasaba shelo, that he heard from his grandfather, who heard from his grandfather, B'Shem HaBaal Shem Tov, in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. שאנחנו שרים את נוסח התפילה של ראש השנה ויום הכיפורים, that the tunes, the nusach, the musical style that we have for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is באותם מנגינות שהיו שרים בבית המקדש. It's the same tunes that were sung in the Beit HaMikdash, in the temple. ואז הוא הוסיף ואמר, and then he added, and he said, גם הנוסח של שבת קצת מזכיר לנו את המנגינות של בית המקדש. And also the music of Shabbat also reminds us a little bit about the Beit HaMikdash. Okay, so the story is actually longer. You remember that Reb Shlomo asked this man, how did, he said to him, you know how much I paid for my ticket to come to Israel? I paid with 10 years in Siberia. And Shlomo says, so how did you hold out? How did you hold out in Siberia for 10 years? So he told him that he held out with singing. And then he told him the story because Shlomo actually once as a kid went up to his father and he says, don't you remember any of the tunes from the temple, from the Beit HaMikdash? And his father said, no, I don't, we don't have any. And Shlomo says he was crying. His father was crying. How could we not have any of the music from the Beit HaMikdash? By the way, I once heard that flamenco music is related.
It's in the same scale.
It's in the same scale as the music of the Beit HaMikdash.
Yeah. It's called Avarabba.
Yeah?
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I buy it from
There's
you.
more David.
Okay. And
you're Yiddish musicians.
you're getting blown away by that?
Well, it's interesting.
Yeah, the gypsies. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
They're klezmer. Gypsies klezmer.
Anyway. Don't ask me. I didn't make it at my bar mitzvah. So.
They're based in India. Gypsies. Wasn't there a story when Rebbe went over to
it's basically
Shlomo and accused him of
Stealing, being a thief. Right? Rabbi Twersky, Rabbi Dr. Twersky went over to Rabbi Shlomo once at an intermission, and he said, Shlomo, you're a thief. And Shlomo says, why did you say that? What did I steal? He says, these are not your tunes, these are songs that the Levium sang. These are songs that the Levium sang in the Beit HaMikdash.
He's giving him a compliment.
Compliment, obviously. So it very well might be, because I'm telling you, I got to be next to Reb Shlomo on more than one occasion when he was receiving a song, and you could literally see him listening to something up there. Okay, that's a whole other. Maybe when they will talk about it, But in any case, so what's Reb Shlomo sort of like telling us in this little teaching over here? What's he adding? And what he's adding to what we were saying so far about the importance of committing ourselves to justice and to living a just life, and not to think that you're better than anybody else. Is he's saying that there's something, it has a lot to do with, there's something about music. There's something about hearing the music of the Beit HaMikdash. Okay? And the only thing that I can sort of add to that right now to maybe help you, I've mentioned it once before. I once saw in the Sefer that according to the Kabbalat, all the motion in the universe, all the celestial motion, is generated by music. And that is such an amazing music that if we were to hear it, our souls would leave our bodies. Okay. Now,
there's like different, I don't remember exactly, but scientifically they took like the vibrations or frequencies that like surround different planets, and then they created music from it.
Right.
They slowed it down.
Yeah.
To the point where we could hear the sound, and it's really like, it's beautiful. It's
Have you heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
If you have a link for it, let me know. It's I mean, like on a very mundane level, imagine one day, you won't have to put gas in your car, you'll just have to put in a CD, type of thing, and the music will generate the motor, type of thing. Awesome, right? So you understand? So there's no question. I mean, we know that while you were bringing your sacrifice, the Levites will be playing music. The Levium will be playing music while you were bringing your sacrifice, and the point of the music was to move you to doing complete tshuva, and then once the sacrifice was brought, to move you to walk out of there with complete confidence that from now on you're going to be okay. It was actually extremely effective, so much so that it ended up being abused. Because people would go out and do their transgressions, then they'd come to the Beit HaMikdash, bring their sacrifice, feel like totally clean and perfect again, and they'd say, "Oh, I can go and play and then come back and clean myself up." Yeah, that's what happened. Right. So so what Reb Shlomo is saying is that when the next time that you're davening praying Kabbalat Shabbat, try to sort of see yourself in the Beit HaMikdash or somewhere close to the Beit HaMikdash. Try to hear the music, but before you can do that, know that it has to be we have to make a complete commitment to really being just. Right? Just be just. Okay? Be honest. And that's no easy thing, no question about it. Okay, so now we come to Friday. The next psalm, Mizmor LeDavid. And you know that the custom among Ashkenazis, shuls, is that even though you can sit for the first 5 psalms, but when it comes to Mizmor LeDavid, you gotta get up. You gotta stand up. It's because it's corresponding to Friday. And what happened on Friday during the 6 days of creation? Man was created, right? So stand up and be a man. Stand up and be the full human being that God, and with all the gifts that God enhanced you with and blessed you with. Stand up. It's time to up the energy, right? It's like this is like the final thrust into Shabbos, okay, before L'Chadodi. And hence you'll find that among many different groups, the music for Mizmor David, for this psalm, is quite intense. So all so Shlomo says, right? So it's like, it's like, and it gets very intense in shul. If you've been to Mayanot Friday night, it's like, gets really, really intense. And among the Skver Hasidim, they have a different nusach for this, but let's read it first, okay? So this is actually Psalm 29, and you have the Siddur? Yeah. So who's going to read? Shani? Yeah. Psalm 29, yeah. Mizmor David, yeah, that one.
A psalm of David. Render unto Hashem, you sons of the powerful. Render unto Hashem honor and might. Render unto Hashem honor worthy of his name. Prostrate yourselves before Hashem in his intensely holy place. The voice of Hashem is upon the waters. The God of glory thunders. Hashem is upon vast waters. The voice of Hashem is in power. The voice of Hashem is in majesty. The voice of Hashem breaks the cedars. Hashem shatters the cedars of Lebanon. He makes them prance about like a calf, Lebanon and Syrian like young Re'im. The voice of Hashem cleaves with shafts of fire. The voice of Hashem convulses the wilderness. Hashem convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Hashem frightens the hinds and strips the forest bare, while in his temple all proclaim glory. Hashem sat enthroned at the deluge. Hashem sits enthroned as king forever. Hashem will give might to his people. Hashem will bless his people with peace.
Okay, strange translation there, but convulsions and things like that, because we don't have that in this translation. Okay?
Yeah, each siddur is different.
Yeah.
They left something out about causing the calves to be born.
No, because you're looking in the Chabad Siddur and they've already translated differently.
That's what I said. Like all the sidders are different how it's
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
trained.
Okay, so let's take a look at the word, the third word, Mizmor David, Havu L'Hashem B'nei Elim. Havu means to give, right?
Mhm.
They in the fancier English, they say render.
But I never.
You ever hear the word render?
Yeah, but I never connected it to the word give. I don't know. I feel like render reminds me of more surrender. Maybe just because it rhymes.
Reminds you of more of what?
Like surrender.
Render means to make.
To make, yeah.
Right,
To
but
what?
I'm
To
saying
do?
like,
You
so
think
like
to what?
maybe it's just because it rhymes.
Make?
To make.
Also to make, yeah, but it's more
Made to
literally.
make.
Havu,
Make.
Okay.
Havu, hey, the root is hebet,
Mhm.
have, which is the
No.
root of the word ahava.
Mhm.
Okay? And that's, by the way, something you should remember all the time. To love is to give. Okay? People usually love when they receive, but the deeper love is in giving. The mother loves the child more than the child loves the mother. The father loves the child more than the child loves the father, because it's the one who gives is capable of loving more than the one who's receiving.
The getting is in the giving.
That's something else. But
The more you love, the more
I understood
give,
you.
the more
Understood. And hold it. Okay. So what the Mizmor is saying over here is give to Hashem. Okay. And now what you're saying is good. In other words, the more you're going to give, the more you're going to be connected. Right? So what should you give to God? Well, Havul Hashem b'nei Elim, you children of the mighty. Right? The word El means power. Hashem hu Elohim, God is Elohim. Elohim is the plural of El. God is the source of all the powers in the world. Keili ata, you are my power, v'odeka. All the talents and gifts that I have, these are given to me by you, and I'm giving them back to you. I'm dedicating them to you. Okay? Havul Hashem b'nei Elim, give to God. Havul Hashem kavod v'oz, give him glory or honor and strength. Kavod v'oz. There's a Zohar, last week's whole Torah reading about the giving of the Torah is seen as a marriage between Hashem and the Jewish people. In fact, our marriage ceremonies are very, very much modeled on what happens at Mount Sinai. Okay? And there's a teaching in the Zohar that says the honor of God is his love for the people of Israel. The honor of the people of Israel is our love for God. The honor of the groom is his love for the bride. The honor of the bride is her love for the groom. What's the connection between honor and love? It's a question for Ayelet.
question for who?
Ayelet and everybody else. What's the connection between honor and love? Good. I had to think about it for, oh my gosh. My Shkeller's mother was nifter. Yeah. Okay. Actually, it took me a long time to wrap my head around that one. Okay. Now, it's we've spoken about this in the past a little bit. What's your biggest honor? That people around you are respecting you and telling you how good you are and whatever it is that you're doing, or that people around you feel elevated and exalted and special? What's your biggest honor?
It depends who the people are. Some people are happy I'm around. Some people are not.
No, but hear my question. What's your biggest honor? Is your biggest honor when people are coming to you and saying, "Oh, Michal, like you've got the best jokes, and we love you, and we think you're great"? Or is your biggest honor that people around you, when they're in your presence, they feel really special?
That they feel really special.
And how do you achieve that?
By giving to them.
Giving them what?
Cover. Love.
By giving them love, by showing that you appreciate them. Mm-hmm. Right? That's your biggest honor. Because what did Hashem do for us when Hashem came and gave us the Torah? Right? What did Hashem do for us? Hashem
said, I love you,
I love you, and you're special, and you can do awesome things in life. Okay? That's the biggest honor. So, kavod v'oz, right? Give God is more than just, oh, I respect you, God, and I know that I better respect you because otherwise I might have to go to the principal's office and get a detention. Okay? But rather, I love you and I recognize that what makes me special is our relationship. Whatever unique things that I possess is the result of our relationship. Okay. Havul Hashem Kvod Shemo, give to God the honor of His name, right? Now, we've done this before, but not everybody was here when we did it. There are thousands of Hebrew words that moved into the English language, into other. There was a guy by the name of Moses, I think,
Isaac Moses.
Isaac Moses, and put together. Take the word glory. Where in the world did that word come from? And prove it, but this is what I'm going to tell you. Substitute Hebrew Glory. And what you're going to get is Gal or Ri, a wave of my light. Okay? Gal or Ri, a wave of my light. In other words, to give Hashem glory basically means that to be whatever you're doing, to allow Hashem's light to come through. Right? Remember we spoke about that. Chassidut explains that Kadosh is to be transparent to your source. To be holy is to be transparent to your source. That means to say, don't interfere with the light that is coming through in what you're doing with Hashem's light. Okay, so that's a good start for this, Ms. Moore. Please, yeah. I noticed that you were.
Yeah. So honor is very selfish and love is very selfless. And so we wrap ourselves with this aura of honor, whether we feed it to ourselves, putting other people down, or whether we choose to, again, just in our street perceptions or from the way that we act, treat people, like we wrap ourselves in honor. And when we choose to take that energy of honor and give to someone, when we give to someone, we're taking that energy that we always wrap ourselves with, and we're choosing to almost give a part of ourselves to that person by giving. So it's like by giving, you are, it's like you're transmuting the honor into love, and you're taking something which is selfless and completely transforming it into something which is selfish to selfless. You're taking the energy of honor, giving, and then transmuting it by giving to others, and which creates a form of love. And it also means giving people the benefit of the doubt, takes away your pride because you don't think that you're right all the time.
Right. The only thing that I want to just sort of adjust a little bit on what you said, that honor is very often taken in a selfish way. Right, but I'm just saying, huh? No, but I'm just saying that's the trap. Understand, but honor, but real honor, right? The fact that the Zohar is saying, what is God's honor is His love for, right? Is His giving. What is our honor is our love for Hashem. What is the biggest honor? Your biggest honor is that the people, of course, they'll respect you, but not because the law said they have to respect you, but because they feel in your presence, they feel so elevated and so exalted that they naturally want to do the same thing that you're doing for them, right?
You were Kabbalat means honor, right?
Yeah.
It means weight, a weight. kavod means weight, right?
Also,
Right. So it's like
Kavod.
kavod, like using that same like weight. Like that's synonymous with love. Like you could use that weight to register into others and have them feel love. Versus like in English, there's
and
like,
it has both possibilities. You can also bring it down.
Right.
Right.
It's interesting in English. There's like honor and there's love. They're completely like, they're separate.
They're separate,
anti.
right?
In Hebrew, they could be found in the same word depending on how you use it.
Yes.
I know it says in the Torah about Haftarah Kamocha.
Yeah.
I understand that between the words there's another commandment which isn't written in letters, but I feel it. That's Kibbata. In other words, if I don't honor another person first, my love isn't going to be worth very much.
Then it's not love.
And it's, even though it's not written, honor your fellow as yourself. I think it's a prerequisite. It should be there together with it.
It's there. It's there. You just got to know Hebrew. You just have to know Hebrew well. Okay.
Coming back to your question, how does one influence another person to be elevated? Like, how do I elevate people?
Just by appreciating them, by loving them, by appreciating them, by loving them, by making them feel that they're important and they're special to you.
I'd like to add something.
1 second, please. Let them finish.
Do you have to say it? I hear
No,
what you're saying.
you don't. Sometimes yes, and sometimes no.
It's a matter of respect. Like if you have a friend that like needs to see you and needs to speak to you, and they're going through a hard time, but maybe you don't have time really, but they're important to you, and you want to show that they're important to you, so you make time for them and you hear them out. And it's a form of honoring them because you know that they need you and that you're going to help and you're going to elevate them for, even if you're just sitting there listening, you don't have to say anything.
Yes, but this is on an individual basis.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
I'm asking a more general sort of thing.
So you're walking into shul, there's 100,000 people there. And
Friday night at my shul.
Friday night at your shul, it feels the same.
So which Shlomo did you hug and kiss every single person you see?
Right.
And Shabbos will be finished on Tuesday. Yeah.
But it's worth it.
It has to be on an individual basis.
It has to be on an individual basis, but also on a communal basis. Like even just to say, like I so much appreciate being here with everybody. You wanted to add something fast because
I wanted to add something to what you said, and I think it's also just tell it in the story. I once heard a wife introduce her husband and say that the greatest thing about him is that he allows me to be me. But even further, he enables me, he empowers me.
Yeah.
And that, I think, it could be on an individual basis. It could be on a communal basis, even on a national basis.
Whatever position you're into to make that happen, right? Very good. Okay, we're going to continue tomorrow, Mr. Shem. Okay, go out there and Havul Hashem.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Great.